Manchester United beat Liverpool 4-3 in a quarter-final tie at Old Trafford, unlike anything I can recall seeing in recent times. For half an hour, it looked really good for United. Then there was a 40, if not 50-minute spell where things weren't going so well, and then in extra time, we changed the game once again with some really bold, brave attacking decisions. So it was good, then it was bad, then it was unbelievably good. And we're going to cover all of that today, and we're going to get started just straight into it. We are going straight into this right from the start. How Manchester United looked to approach this game and eventually got the win over Liverpool. So we'll start off with in normal play, United's approach to the game. We were brave and bold, firstly, with the decision to play from the back. Once we had played from the back, something we quickly looked to do was move into a back three. At times, this would be Aaron Wan-Bissaka tucking in alongside Raphael Varane and Lindelof, with Dalot moving into midfield, and at times it was the other way around. Wan-Bissaka would move a little bit higher up the pitch and Dalot would drop deeper. The important thing in these phases for United, though, was that we were overloading the Liverpool midfielders, with Kobbie Mainoo, Dalot, McTominay and Fernandes up against McAllister, Szoboszlai and Endo. So we had the extra man, and when you do that, you create the extra man, you are able to find players in little bits of space, particularly when you've got Kobbie Mainoo in your midfield, who in my opinion was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable, and I am going to do a separate video on him later on today because I thought he was just quality in this game. But so was Diogo Dalot. His first phase play, his press resistance, his ability to chop past players was absolutely phenomenal, and it really helped us in these areas of the pitch. And again, like I said, sometimes it would be a little bit wider. The important thing was, though, that we were able to quickly progress the ball through the pitch and quickly get forward and attack Liverpool. Where Liverpool, with this lineup, a little bit injury hit, had weaknesses in their side. One was Højlund's ability to get towards Konsa and then move towards the ball and use his hold-up play. What we would do is we would go up, then you go back, and then you go through, using someone like Scott McTominay, Garnacho, Højlund and Marcus Rashford, then all quickly attacking the Liverpool defence. It worked very, very well. Something else we saw was United taking advantage of a Liverpool weakness, Mohamed Salah. As odd as that sounds, Wan-Bissaka was able to get away from him because Salah is a hard-working player, but he is not someone who is particularly intense going back towards his own goal. A little bit like Marcus Rashford, you might think, but it doesn't get picked up on quite as much. But this meant that Wan-Bissaka could carry the ball forward, and this then gave United an overload in these areas of the pitch, because Marcus Rashford would hold the width, Wan-Bissaka would carry the ball forward, but even Garnacho would come all the way across. Now this is something we spoke about in the stream just before the game. Garnacho getting into these areas, moving away from Van Dijk, who is quite difficult to beat, moving towards the left-hand side to create overloads, and it worked very, very well for the first goal. We can see it here. Bruno Fernandes has got the ball wide on the left-hand side, and as you will see, Mohamed Salah has not tracked back. He's not even in shot in this situation, and it allows us to move the ball wide to Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford in this position is now in a 1 versus 2. Now a poor decision maker here, an average footballer, might slow things down here and maybe even consider trying to take the two players on, but Rashford shows intelligence and awareness, but also passing ability, to quickly turn it into a 2 versus 2, thanks to the run of Alejandro Garnacho. Marcus Rashford slips the ball in behind, Garnacho gets into the box and starts to attack the Liverpool defence. He shoots at goal, which may not have been the right decision, but regardless, we get away with it. Kelleher saves the shot, it pops back out for Scott McTominay to bundle the ball over the line into the back of the net. And in general, United were playing very well in this phase of the game. Another reason we were playing reasonably well was because we were pressing reasonably high up the pitch, in a shape which varied. So at times it would be a 4-3-3 shape, like our typical shape which we use, where Højlund's got a job of 2 centre-backs, and our wingers also have to cover the full-back and the centre-back. So at times it was this, and Liverpool were quickly able to move the ball out wide and hurt us, to tell the truth. Rashford again, not always tracking back intensely enough. With enough intensity, he was moving back, but he could have done it a little bit quicker. But the other problem also was that at times we shifted to more of a 4-4-2. And again, this could change. Sometimes it would be McTominay and Mainoo in the pivot. Sometimes it would be Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes. But the point still is that we were basically one man short when pressing in these areas. Because let's say Szoboszlai moves into the 10 and McAllister drops deeper, like this, which happened quite a lot. United looked to go 4-4-2, which isn't a bad shape at all to use. It's actually a pretty good shape against this Liverpool side, because you can see in these forward areas, it's now got us man-to-man, and we did see this at times. But if you are man-to-man high, and in particular in the midfield, but then your defence drops off, like it did, we see situations like this, which everyone has been speaking about online. Yes, a screenshot always makes it look worse, but we saw this several times in the first half. Liverpool able to completely open up the United side. Because when you're man-to-man high, but then your defence drops deep, it means that you have to literally get it perfect. And if you don't, if you are just half a yard off, Liverpool can quickly move the ball forward through you, and then they are straight at your back four. And this was the problem for Manchester United. In the first half an hour or so, we had the intensity to almost overcome this. You know, the sharpness of our press was good. So when these Liverpool players were trying to play out from the back, we were getting the press right, either in the 4-3-3 or the 4-4-2. We were quick, hard, aggressive, sharp, getting towards the ball. And it allowed us to win the ball high and create chances. What we saw around the 30th minute, though, was that the squad began to tire a little bit. Now, Liverpool took advantage of this, and they really rode that wave of momentum. They were able now to quickly move the ball forward through our press because our players are a little bit slow getting there, and they hurt our defence, they attack us. The other problem you have with this system is when you are man-to-man in midfield, even in deeper areas of the pitch, all it takes is one extra player to completely disrupt your rhythm. So let's say, for example, McTominay is on Szoboszlai, Fernandes is on Endo, and Kobbie Mainoo is on McAllister. Let's say we're man-to-man. The problem with this is that if you just add one extra player, it causes chaos. So that could be Joe Gomez, who at times moved into midfield in the first half, now creating this box shape for Liverpool. Now, what a sensible approach would be here is to not be man-to-man. If we're outnumbered, you can't go man-to-man. So to sit off and close gaps a little bit. But United don't tend to recognise that cue. So we stay man-to-man, meaning that this extra spare player just has all the time in the world to do whatever he wants with the ball. We actually saw it for the Liverpool goal from Quansah. If we quickly move this forward up towards the Liverpool goal, what we can see here is that because Manchester United are man-to-man in midfield, as the ball moves across, the midfielders, Kobbie Mainoo and Scott McTominay, are looking to pick up their players. Now, Wan-Bissaka for me makes a mistake. He's too wide on Mo Salah, opening up this space in between him and Varane. But we can see Kobbie Mainoo and McTominay can see their players. Because those two guys there are, quote, their players, it means that they can't go out and be the spare man. So when Marcus Rashford, in my opinion, gets beaten too easily and Quansah moves forward, United don't have the spare player to go out and get him. This is the issue with the man-to-man press. When you then add an extra player in from the opposition, who goes out and gets them? Whose job is it? Particularly when Lindelof and Varane are having to do a sort of a double job on Darwin for a lot of the game because he's a big threat. It made life really difficult for United. And United then had this problem, truthfully, for a long period of this game. And in the second half, Liverpool, we were there for the taking. Liverpool could have come at us and could have come after us. For some reason, they just didn't. Liverpool were uncharacteristically poor on the ball. Perhaps, fatigued as well, because they have had a really busy schedule recently. Extra time against Chelsea. They've had the Europa League. As United fans, we know how difficult the Europa League is. But Liverpool just didn't put the foot down, really. They could have really attacked us. They could have gone on to really hurt us because they were in a great position. And we were there for the taking because, again, we looked really fatigued. We looked really tired, and we had this system where the forwards are high, the defence is low, and it means constantly we are transitioning backwards massively, having to cover a ridiculous amount of space. But Liverpool didn't put their foot down, and they didn't really attack us. Then Ten Hag makes some big changes. We, of course, score the late goal. 2-2 going into extra time. Ten Hag has made changes to get a lot of attackers on the pitch to really go and hurt Liverpool, and it leaves us with something which looks like chaos, but it actually worked really well. So this here is what United eventually end up with on the pitch. Now just take a second to read through that lineup and figure out what on earth is going on. If you had said this before kickoff, I would have called you a madman. We've got a back three of Antony, Maguire and Dalot, sometimes joined by Eriksen, sometimes joined by Bruno Fernandes, sometimes joined by Onana to make it a back four. We then have an Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes double pivot. Again, sometimes they were given a license to go really high up the pitch, sometimes they would drop deep into the defence. Particularly Bruno, he had an injury for a large part of this game, so he was struggling physically. We've then got Ahmad and McTominay sort of in these two high half-space positions. We've got Garnacho left-hand side, Mount on the right-hand side, swapping with Ahmad at times, and then Marcus Rashford up front. Now this looks like pure chaos, but it's a key change which Ten Hag actually mentioned after the game. Because he had so many attackers on the pitch, he had to push them higher. But what this actually allowed United to do was to go man-to-man in the press. So whereas in the first half, or just in the game in general for the first 90 minutes of the game, what we saw was some players man-to-man, but then again other United defenders really retreating and dropping off quite deep, opening up those gaps. When we were now in this shape, because we had so many attackers on the pitch, really summed up by Antony at left back. Because we had so many attackers on the pitch, we had no choice but to press high. And it suited us, honestly, perfectly. Because it meant that we could press with a front four for a start. Garnacho on Bradley, Rashford on Quansah, Ahmad on Van Dijk, Mason Mount on Gomez. Again, it could sometimes be the other way around between these two. We would then see McTominay pushing high on Endo, and then if McAllister would drop in, Eriksen could follow him, and Bruno Fernandes was on, I can't remember who the Liverpool player was at this stage in the game. But the important thing is, we're now man-to-man. Importantly though, so are the defence. So rather than in the first 90 minutes where we would then drop incredibly deep, we now went super high on the press. So Dalot would be here, Maguire would be on Gakpo, and Antony on Diaz. Now, this probably isn't a sustainable approach moving forward. To play with one centre-back, Harry Maguire, who's fairly slow, Antony at left-back, Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes double pivot, it's not particularly sustainable. But for me, it was just so bold from Erik ten Hag. He could have, in extra time, sat back. He could have made a change, Kambuala onto the pitch, get an extra centre-back on the pitch, maybe go a little bit defensive because the squad is tired, look to play in transition with Rashford, with Garnacho. That could have been an approach which we looked to use. But still, we threw the kitchen sink at Liverpool for what ended up being a solid 40 minutes of this game. And that is fatiguing, so the players deserve a lot of credit. A lot of credit. These guys did not down tools for their manager. They are playing for their manager. No one can question that. But I really liked it from Erik ten Hag because as the Manchester United manager, he was bold, he was brave, and he attacked the opposition. And I think that's what we want to see. He was bold. He pushed our players forward. He tasked us with going man-to-man and say, go on, can you win your man-to-man battles? And truthfully, United did. And that was the key thing in extra time. United weren't as tired as Liverpool. Again, Liverpool were fatigued, so we got away with it a little bit in that sense. They were shattered, really, from their schedule this season. Players also returning from injury, the likes of Mo Salah having to come off. This really suited United, though, and Ten Hag, again, deserves credit for this, because he chose to take advantage of that. He chose to go man-to-man and really challenge his players to challenge the Liverpool players. And the United players rose to the challenge, and that truly is something brilliant to see. So Ten Hag and the players deserve a lot of credit. But what we can see is that this is the effect. And we can see this thanks to using Once Video Analyzer Pro, by the way. Check this out in the description. It's really good. A great video analysis software. Make sure to check it out. But what we can see is that it allows United now to have players naturally in high positions. So here we've got one player behind me. Then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players high on Liverpool. It's absolutely insane. Now, Darwin Núñez makes a crazy decision here. But he's forced into this decision because Dalot here is high. Whereas in the first half, he was one of the players which would drop off with the rest of the team. He is now engaging high up the pitch, putting pressure on Darwin Núñez because we are committing to the press and we are going man-to-man. And like I said, Darwin makes a silly decision. He should have just played it safe and gone backwards, but he doesn't. And it allows McTominay to overturn possession, wins the ball back in midfield really, really well, turns and drives forward. And now, because we've got so many players so high from the start, we've won the ball high up the pitch, we have players in really dangerous areas. McTominay makes a really good decision, a great weight of pass. Marcus Rashford gets in behind the defence and puts a really good finish into the back of the net. An important finish for him, because I think he played really, really well in this game. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch the game, and trust me, knowing the result, then watching his performance, you will see that he played well. Yes, he should have scored late on, 90th minute plus. He should have scored, but I think he was offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. But I was really happy for him to have this moment. Suddenly, United are 3-3, but the approach continues. The approach continues. But eventually, Liverpool get a corner in the last minute, and we're all sitting here thinking Van Dijk's going to attack this. But it doesn't happen. It's a poor delivery. United win the header, and then Amad Diallo wins this crucial battle. A crucial battle. He wins his 50-50 here, and then we just break at speed. For some reason, Liverpool only have one player back. Truthfully, no idea what they're doing there, because that's not game management. That's a horrendous decision from Liverpool. That's really poor. Klopp will be fuming with that. Absolutely fuming. That is criminal. Unless it was his decision, then he really can't be. But it allows Manchester United to counter-attack, and Garnacho makes a good decision because he carries the ball forward. You see, if he was to play this ball early to Ahmad, it almost makes up Conor Bradley's mind for him. We can see Conor Bradley here. He's in a good body position. So should the ball go to Ahmad early with this pass, Conor Bradley's got himself in a good position to deal with it. So Garnacho therefore makes an intelligent decision. He takes more touches and continues to drive at Bradley. Now we can see that Bradley's body positioning is very, very different. And he's now not as ready to deal with the pass. Now yes, the pass isn't very good from Garnacho, which is why what Ahmad does next is very special, because this pass is poor. and Ahmad approaches it as though he is going to take a touch towards Conor Bradley, and it gets Conor Bradley set to make the tackle. What Ahmad does next though is genius, because he just shifts it. He has baited Conor Bradley in basically. He's gone, come on, close me down, close me down, close me down, and then I'm going to knock the ball past you with my left boot. And you can see the separation this creates. He's separated himself from Conor Bradley, all with a bit of genius. Not with pure power and pace and acceleration and things like that. Just pure genius and manipulation. And it buys himself enough room to work a little bit of space, put the ball into the back of the net. Old Trafford erupts and Manchester United progress through to the next round of the Cup. Tactically, it was not perfect, let's be honest. Because the press was a little bit disjointed during during normal time as such. The defence was still too deep. We had problems. On the ball, I thought we were really exciting to watch, really dangerous going forward, and that was great. On the ball, one of our best performances this season. And then in extra time, it was about grit, determination, winning in 1-versus-1 battles, and then making it count in the big moments. And United done that, and that's what you need to do in the FA Cup. United are through to the semi-final at Wembley against Coventry City. We'll feel that we've now got a big opportunity to finish this season strongly. But those are my thoughts for that game. We'll conquer the rest of the season when we get there. I have got another video later on today looking at Kobbie Mainoo's performance because I truly thought he was special. But for this video, we are finished. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.